Yo, what's up, guys? A video about what happened on the SWC European Cup on Sunday. In all honesty, at first I was like, I'm probably not going to do like whatever you want to call it, drama farming or not. But I did not really plan to do a video on it until I thought about the following. The moment I go live, first thing people are going to ask, what is your take on it? What is your take on it? What's your take on it? I have to explain. Then people come in 5 minutes later. What's your take on it? I have to re-explain. Then people come in 10 minutes later. I have to explain again. And that kind of stuff. So I'm just going to make this video to just always say, it's like, oh, my take, just go to the video. Just makes my life a lot easier than have to re-explain myself. Like 20,000 times. A lot of you people probably did already kind of hear either through like a video for Babo, video of Shambi, or video of like whoever, just watch the stream. What happened, but I'm going to be giving my take on it, maybe a little bit of side information that people did miss out there because not being there or just whatever. So what happened in the first place is that, very simply said, Pinkroyd was heavy inting in match 3, 4, and 5. Mainly because he would have liked to have given his friend the victory. That's pretty much like the most simple statement to it. People on Reddit were asking, was it a protest against Comtos for shitty RNG or anything like that? Yes, RNG was actually pretty shitty, especially in these matches, funny enough. But no, was it a particular protest? No, it was definitely nothing like that. Most, like in the end, I am not Pinkroyd, I am not Raxus, so I cannot speak for them. They can only speak for themselves, but I can only make it of what I've seen thus far. So let's say we create a scenario where you already have 3 European titles, you have 3 gold medals, you don't have a silver yet, your friend doesn't have a gold one yet, and therefore you'll be like, let me give that gold one to my friend. I think that's the most oversimplified explanation that is there. Could Pinkroyd have done a better job of just running up like half-assed units to just simply give the win to his friend rather than making it look that int where he's just on purpose doing like 60 wrong turns in a row? Yes, definitely. But I think Pinkroyd is too competitive to go for that kind of sense. So in that case, this happened. Let's simply say that prize money was really not a factor into the decision of who gets the victory, or let's say it's something like that. Then the big question that a lot of people have is, was Raxus in on it? In the end, I think the very simple answer to that is we shall never know. Because, truth to be told, if he was, he should never actually admit to it, because that would make him lose his first spot and his 10k, and he would not play in the finals. And if he's, yeah, no, that's just the simple fact. Like, if he would be in on it, he should actually never like admit to it. That's just a simple fact, which wouldn't be smart thing to do. But there's also, of course, very good odds he wasn't in on that. That is something that I think we'll never find out. That's just the honest answer to that. I don't think we will ever find out on that part if he was in on it or not. Another thing that a lot of people have said is, should Raxus have left the match? Yes, I do think so. There's definitely certain moments where you could have left the match. I definitely do, like some people did mention, it's like, ooh, would your like integrity make it that you would leave the match or not? I'm not too sure about it. I think that a lot of people might be wondering is like, did he expect to get away with this? And the honest answer is, yes, I do think so. At least then in the case for this from Pinkroyd's side. So not Raxus, can he get away with it, not leaving? No, I'm saying Pinkroyd, can he get away with inting and giving his friend the victory? Well, the thing is, back in the days where, I think it was 2021 online tournament, Pinkroyd actually gave like a full double middle fingers to the camera during one of the matches, was against me. Like water under the bridge. We talked about it the year after. It's all fine. I'm not a hateful person. I don't hold any grudges against that whatsoever. But that does mean that I can forget that. I don't care about it anymore. But in the end, Comtos still does. But for me as a caster, some people did also ask, it's like, say, what the hell was that for you casting? So I think for me, which I had in mind was also, I expected him to really lose this match. That's the first place. I really, like, even as hard as he was inting at some point, I really did expect him to lose the match. He could have made one play, which was even worse, which we'll see in a second. Also, yeah, RNG definitely not in the favor of Rex. Those must say also not the best of drafts, because you do know if Pinkroyd really loves the Diana and Terrace into the Shizuka, still the Shizuka's draft is a lot worse. But yeah, besides the point of that, you definitely like shielding here, not switching, not killing. It's full on int, like 100%. Did I not want to call that out like, hey, that is full on int? No. And the main reason was because back in 2011, he got away with just dropping a middle finger on camera, and Comtus gave him a slap on the wrist. Me, as doing a professional gig as a caster, did not want to sit on the role of saying like what is or isn't allowed. I felt that it was up to Comtus to say something is or isn't allowed to do. So for me, of course, I could have said like full like, yo, he's hella inting over here. He 100% was hella inting. And that is just the simple fact. He probably made like 40 turns in a row, the worst decision possible to get the lose in. In this case, he could have actually done one more stupid. I actually wanted to call it out, but then it was like, maybe it's a little bit too toxic to call it out. Also, in this point where it was the 2-on-0, I was maybe thinking he should have actually, like, if you revive the pony, Pony can make the switch of the human state to the other state, to the pony state, and then you just completely waste the whole turn. So he could have wasted the turn even harder than that one over here. But besides the point on that, I kind of had the feeling that he could get away with it because he also got away with the other one. Whereas I did not expect to disqualify for dropping double middle finger on someone back in those days. But what is very common between other esports, and I'll talk about the term esports in just about a second as well, is that you get like a fine of your prize pool. So you get deducted of your prize pool by a little bit for something like that. Which would have been very common, but he got a slap on the wrist and was like, no, totally, everything is fine. Even the aftermath that he did after, like, once again, it's water under the bridge, but he went some nasty moves after that as well with starting to stream, having everyone spam middle fingers, and then rate me and spam middle fingers in my chat, which at that time did not really enjoy it, but as mentioned, I did forgive him. I'm not a hateful person. I don't care about this kind of stuff anymore because it's in the past. But just to give a little bit more context to the story. So for all of those things targeted to a specific person, they just gave him a slap on the wrist, no fine, no nothing. So me as a caster sitting over here, I kind of felt like he could get away with it. And maybe because of that, he felt like he could get away with it. Big question that a lot of people had, and also me had, is why did Comtus not step in? And I also did ask that question. The answer I got was as following. I still don't really agree to it, but the answer that I got was as following, is that they did mention they were warned in the break to have like a official match and don't do any funny business. It's pretty much like the simple words to put to it. So because they were warned already, they decided not to go for stopping the match, because of course what they could have done is like, yo guys, technical break, go to the casters, let us talk for a bit and walk up to the players and say like, yo, no funny business, play an official match. Could have definitely been the thing and would have made a lot of sense, and I would fully agree if they have done that. But also, while this was all revolving and all happening around, it was also for me, like, to think about it later right now, to think about it right now, also me as a caster sitting at this, I was kind of thinking like, okay, we're sitting at a 2-0. Maybe Pinkert is just going to make it a 2-2, and then he's going to play a serious match to see whoever wins. But they just want to drag it out to just like both of them give like a good chance of like, okay, maybe have some bad RNG, maybe you give like the benefit of the doubt to your friend to maybe get like a better fair match at a later statement or something like that. Those could all like influence where maybe come to us, like sitting on their chair right now. It's not exactly what they say. All they said is, at least what I heard, what they said to me when I asked about it is like, they did give them the warning. But it could be that they maybe wanted to give them the benefit of the doubt. It's like, no way he's gonna int all three, right? There's absolutely no way he's gonna... Fuck. I think that was maybe their reaction, something like this. So, in the end, also in the break, I did tell them, like I always say, the things I hate casting the most are rehearsal matches. Because rehearsal matches are always like a bunch of random LDs, absolutely nothing is happening, and then I have to sit there, it's like, yay! For no reason. That's just pretty much my rehearsals. Been doing that for a few years right now. So that's just that. People did ask me how was this to cast for me. Well, this was way worse than the rehearsal match because now I actually had to fake enthusiasm over like the most shittiest plays known to mankind. So yeah, that was very annoying to do. And once again, as mentioned, I did not really know what I could or couldn't say because... to be honest, I also did not read the whole TOS from A to Z. I could have expected something match fixing to be in there, but also, once again, I did not want to sit on their chair. And also, they did not step in on any given point, so I was like, maybe he can get away with it. And probably he was expecting the same thing, otherwise he wouldn't have done it in the first place. In the end, results are different. We have seen the results on that. They did go for a very lengthy talk. I want to see like how long that was, because the moment that this is where he was crowned champion, this is where they let us talk for a very long time over the highlights before David, which is the CEO of Europe, came up. So they had like a discussion of about 17-ish minutes. By looking at the numbers, it's just out of screen for you guys. Wait, can I put it over here? So this is where the champion was, and this is where they started talking about the final moment and that kind of stuff. So they had a good talk of 70 minutes. During that time, they didn't tell us anything as cast, so I'm just sitting there like yapping about all kind of random nonsense. But hey, that's what I get paid for, right? So in the end, yeah, was this very annoying to cast? Absolutely, because in the end, I did not really know what I could or couldn't say. I also did not really want to force a hand of saying like, oh, this is such bullshit there on stage, and then come to us be like, no, we're actually fine with it, because I had no clue what they would do. In the end, they did change the TOS for the tournaments after that year to make it stronger. So if you scroll down all the way here on the Summoners War esports side, you do have like a TOS, and with that, you have like a whole bunch of rules. And one of those rules that you have over here is that you're not allowed to do match fixing. And deliberately losing is match fixing. And because of that, you can be disqualified, prize forfeit, and blah, 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 that kind of shit. So, is a disqualification pretty harsh of a thing? Maybe so, but in the end, that is for them to decide and not up for me. So that is definitely what's going on over there. Then a lot of people did also ask, is like, okay, but how about the Legend Tournament? Isn't this shit happening in the Legend Tournament all the time? Like, Legend Tournament is kind of 9 out of 10 hella rigged. We do have this guy, was it this guy? I think, yeah, this guy sitting at a rank 3 with like 85% win rate and that kind of stuff. Yes, he's just getting hella boosted. And mainly, that if you do that in the early days where people are not 1900 yet, you cannot find any matches but your own friends, and therefore you can boost insanely hard, blah, 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 that kind of stuff. Will this guy be allowed in the Legend Tournament? I have no clue. Will that be a very boosted account in the Legend Tournament? Absolutely, yes. Why do they not care as much about the Legend Tournament as about SWC? Well, the thing is, for a Legend Tournament, you do not sign a TOS. So you do not sign the terms of service. You do not agree to specific things, which you do agree to with SWC. Plus, SWC has all of the stakeholders watching, all of the CEOs watching, all of the higher ups, you have those watching. So that is a really big difference to just a Legend Tournament, because in a Legend Tournament, it's none of those. Legend Tournament is also way more often, so Legend Tournament also doesn't have any prize pool. So Legend Tournament, in general sense, they care a lot less about. Maybe that if this is a thing right now that they're like, yo, we actually have to look more at our esports integrity of the game, maybe they should be looking more into this as well. Maybe they should be looking more into boosting. Maybe they should be looking more into a whole bunch of stuff, because in the end, they can give a penalty to that as well. Then talking about penalties. Is Pinkroyd permanently banned from SWC? That is something we do not know the answer yet to. And I think they have no official statement on that just yet. Of course, for this year, he's out. If he's out for next year, I have no clue. So that is definitely there. Then also, people did talk a little bit about the after party. So like, how was the aftermath of everything going on? Well, let's say everyone was sad as fuck. Like, we had a very good tournament. We had a very good run up until the point where this like incredible int just started to happen. And yeah, that's just really sad to see, because we had such a bad ender of something that was such a good tournament till this morning. Or till this moment, not this morning. In the end, we did go to the after party, as we always do in like SWC fashion. We have an after party, a bunch of drinks, all of that kind of good stuff. Some nice dinner. And at first, Pinkroyd and Rexus weren't there. They did come in later. And that was also one of the main reasons that Pinkroyd did want to apologize in person to both the CEO of Europe, but also the main responsible for SWC from Korea HQ, because he's actually pretty close to that guy as well. They always like to have their drinks, their talks, and those kind of things during these events. In the end, Pinkroyd has been around there since like 2020 or something like that for the SWC events, which he participated in person. Or online in those first few years. But yeah, those kind of things, he definitely did want to apologize. Is all forgiven because of the apologize? No, but it does soften the wounds a little bit to make it... Probably they spoke a little bit more about like what happened. I wasn't sitting at the table at the moment that happened. It's also not up for me to be like super involved in all of that. I just kind of wanted to give my take on it. So yeah, that's just for you guys, maybe a little bit more understanding of what happened, how it happened, and how it proceeded. So in the end, we do have Rexus getting our first place. We have Pavix second place. Pavix also straight up told me, he's like, dude, I don't even want the money. It's like, I'm like, yo, if you really don't want to, drop it to charity, but that's like, that's always something you can do. But that's also, of course, always the heat of the moment. Like, same for Golem Pichagi. Felt like, yo, I don't deserve this spot to play. But in a month and a half, he's probably like, yo, I'll just make the best of it and see how that goes, right? In the heat of the moment, a lot of people do feel like certain things should have, could have, would have. And sure, maybe I could have said something as well as like, yo, we're hella inting. But then again, as I mentioned before, he got away with kind of things before to a certain extent where I felt like I was surprised that he got disqualified. Let's call it that way. I was highly surprised that they stepped in that hard. And I do think it is a good thing they stepped in that hard, to be honest. Because otherwise, the moment you allow this nonsense, what is the next nonsense that other people will try to throw at things at a later moment? So... yeah, that's also one of those things. Is what it is. It happens. What's going to happen in the future? I don't know. Are they going to change the rules again? Probably. They have been on a decent track of changing the rules and not really mentioning what they changed in the rules. So that's also the transparency is a little bit lacking over there, in my opinion. But that is just my statement that I did want to make on this topic. One more thing that I do always love for the discussion, like, this is not an esports because it's pay to win and it's RNG. Well, if you ask Google, what is the definition of an esports? It's a multiplayer video game, competitive, spectators, typical by professional gamers. You have an audience, you have tournament settings, you have prize pools, blah, blah, blah. You can't read half of the stuff because it's sitting in front of it. But by definition, Summoner's War is an esports. Like, it sucks to suck for you guys. It's like, it's not an esports. Well, in the end, you can say blue is not a color because you hate blue, but blue in the end is still a color. If you like blue as a color, that is a completely different topic, and that actually is a topic that makes a lot more sense, because is the RNG fair? No. Is it kind of bullshit? Yes. Is it to a certain extent pay to win? Yeah, but then again, a lot of sports are more pay to win than you actually think about, because if you have the best physios, if you have the best training environment, if you can like train in a freaking hyperbolic time chamber, which is available with some sports, yes, you probably will perform better than the others. So in the end, the whole world is pay to win. This game is just a little bit more visible, like how much you spend is what you get out of it. Unless you spend $700 for freaking Nova. This game is just RNG shit. But yeah, are they going to do anything about the RNG part of the game? Probably not really, which does suck. But in the end, I must say for most of the matches we had this SWC, they were not super RNG heavy. Like, sure, there were some RNG moments, but at least it was RNG moments back and forth. It was not like insanely crazy one person absolutely sucking the living shit out of someone else. Maybe except for the finals where like legit nothing landed right there. But yeah, that's just also part of the game. If everything would land, it would maybe be boring to watch. That is what they say. I don't know what it is. But yeah, let me know in the comments what you think about it. I just wanted to give my statement so I don't have to repeat myself like 16,000 times on stream. And I'll see you guys in the next one. And of course, with the other SWCs, because I will be doing viewer party for America's Cup, also for the APAC region. And of course, I will be there for the World Finals. So, see you later, guys. In the Discord, and check out the content tab for the guide video archive, which contains all of the guides that you might need. Hope to see you there.